I just want to say that I think there's still hope. I think that there's still a lot of hope in this life that we all share. Yeah. Before any of you might be like, well, you don't know my life. I got my own things to deal with. I've been through all this stuff. You know, what does a 26-year-old know about life? What can this young idiota teach me about fucking life? Well, I don't know if I can teach anyone anything about life, to be quite fair, but I got some credentials. I've seen a few things and I've done a few things. And I think adversity is something that I can have at least some experience with, you know what I mean? Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of hope. I think considering even just the last year, which has been crazy as far as like the the nonsense I've been through, most of which was caused by me, of course. But just thinking about that, it's like, no, I think there's hope. I think there's a lot of hope as far as like life and our ability to like kind of make or get what we want out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Some context, I guess, for me and what I've been through. I've been depressed and I guess suicidal for like almost 11 years, since good old age 16. I'm about to turn 27 in a few weeks. But yeah, so having to deal with all kinds of mental health BS, and had some padres that were not the nicest folks. I wasn't like being like abused, but like to describe, I guess, how poor the relation is between myself and them. I personally have a blood feud with my father, and I'm not. I don't think that guy needs to be in my life anymore. You know, which I guess kind of sad in its own way to be like, oh, you know, but like to have to cut off, I guess, someone that was that close. But like considering the havoc that this gentleman has wreaked in my life, yeah, it's not worth it. So yeah, depression, parents, what else? Oh yeah, I think I can't remember, it was a couple years, but I don't remember the ages, but for a couple years I was at my mom's house and just kind of like basically a shut-in, what they call a NEET, or maybe a hikikomori. Yeah, I was living like that. Oh, it feels, all right. I laugh because I'm like, dude, that's like, it was shameful. What was going on? But, yeah, I was, essentially, jobless, not doing anything as far as like, I guess, bettering myself, you could say, for a couple years while I was living at my mom's house. I don't remember the ages. I was either 24 to 26 or 23 to 25, something like that. Yeah. And I don't have, rather, I'm not going to say I don't have friends, because I feel like I do, but like, okay, so I have one really close friend, and there's a group of friends that I usually hang out with, but like I just haven't spoken to them in a few months, okay? Yeah. So I guess, I don't know. Is it friendlessness? I feel lonely as hell, but whatever. Okay, so that, every job I've had, almost every job, except like the last one, almost every job I've had, I've like quit, after, either a few weeks or as little as like a couple days, more leaning towards the latter, just because, a lot of those jobs, I mean, you could say, okay, because I would tell you that a lot of those jobs were not for me. Obviously, the people who live, the people who are veterans of this life are like, bro, you need to fucking work in order to earn your keep, because you can't live for free. And I get that. You got to do, a lot of times you got to do stuff you don't want to do in order to like get, I guess, to the next thing. But just for context, working has not been something that I've been very good at. And I think finally in the last year or so, I I had another situation where I like dropped a job after a day. I moved to a city I never been to, dropped a job after a day. I ended up losing, or I had to abandon my lease on an apartment that I'd got. I used Instacart in order to like try to like, you know, make ends meet, I guess, while I was living in my car. Then the car broke down, right? And then I had to go to a homeless shelter for a few months. So, yeah, all that to say that I'm not some know nothing, okay? When it comes to going through things, I done been through a few things. And after all that, I'd still like to say that I think there's still hope. There's hope there's still hope for like getting the things that you want, I guess, out of life. Because like, I guess I can speak to that homelessness saga, which was, I honestly thought that was the end, man. Like, it was rough. Like every day, I would go from the shelter to the library, which is about an hour, 6 days out of 7. I would walk about, not an hour, it was about a half hour from the shelter to the library. And I would walk this path, and on my right side, I would see a 7-story parking garage. And I would pass by that thing every day being like, bro, is today the day? I had notes. I had made notes in I had a little notebook. It was one of the notebooks that I had. I do a lot of journaling. But I threw that one away. Like, cause, you know, I only have one journal left because of things I'll get into later. But like, in my journal, I had actually written down like notes like, okay, when I pass by this place at like 10:45, there's X number of people here. I see cars. Sometimes I see like there's like a little police unit that was in there sometimes. Actually, no, it was in there sometimes. The reason why I learned later that, you know, the reason why there's a police unit sometimes in that building was that, what do you call it? I think directly behind the parking garage was it's like a Bureau of Investigation. I don't think it's an FBI building. I never got close enough to the sign to see, but there were like cops there stationed right there. But anyway, the point is that every day I was walking by the library, I was walking by this fucking 7-story parking garage, and I was like, dude, am I gonna do it today? Am I gonna do it? Am I gonna just fucking end my shit today and just not have to deal with, you know, the shame and hopelessness of being homeless and stuff, you know? There were a couple days where I got real close, where it was bad, okay? I'll leave it at that. It was bad. It was rough, okay? The point is I've been through some things, and, you know, yeah, I want to say that there's still hope. There is still hope in life. Why did I bring that up? Hold on. Yes, we're going to go back. So I was going to the library. I felt hopeless. I would go to the library to play games on my laptop to, you know, get away from the sadness. But one of the things I did start doing is that there's this like thing called, or like a website called Coolworks, or like, I was interested in this idea of jobs that provided housing, because that was something that the social worker at the shelter mentioned. And I had been looking at Coolworks stuff. I had been made aware of it because of a guy named Timothy Ward on YouTube. Real solid, great YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that shit. That guy he'll speak some action into your soul. But I was looking into like those remote jobs, or like the jobs that like would give you housing and stuff. And you know, I would just apply to like, you know, 2 or 3 a day. And I would kind of ramp up and ramp down, you know, as the depression was hitting. And you know, I eventually managed to get something while I was homeless, in like because I think they gave me like 3 months to figure something out before they'd get me up out of there, you know. And in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I got a job, or I got a job offer from one of those jobs that provided housing. And I was like, oh shit, right, you know, here's my fucking chance. And so I went I took the risk, and I said, well, I say took the risk. What other option did I have? But okay, so I had that, and I was just like, okay, in the next, in a matter of days, I'm gonna be out of here. I'm gonna be out of homelessness, out of this, town that I might not really like. But I mean, to be fair, okay, I say my time there was okay, as far as like, I was safe. I didn't catch any diseases, and I don't feel like I was, I don't feel like I was in any danger. But I guess that's also part of the privilege of being a man. I cannot imagine the horrors that must be faced by the homeless women of the shelter and stuff, or well, homeless women in general. Okay, so as I was preparing to leave, there was a lot of like good things that kind of like fell into place in those last like few days, few weeks of the homeless shelter stuff. I thought I would end up arriving to like my destination where the job was at. I thought I would end up arriving there with like no cash to my name, like only a handful of pennies. I was prepared to do that if it was necessary, but I ended up getting the bus ticket, ended up being paid for by like the homeless outreach team, which was really, really nice. And I managed to get there safe and sound after, it was like, 23 hours? Jesus. It was a long bus ride, but I managed to get there and I got working. And there at work, I met some, kind of cool people. I say kind of cool. They were pretty cool. They were nice. Most of them were nice. Actually, I think all of them were nice. Don't let anyone I work with tell you that I said this, but like, there was a girl there that was cute, and I think she liked me and wanted to get to know me, but like I was in a different headspace at the time just because of everything that had happened, in my life to that point. It was just like, kind of like, So I kind of wasn't all that receptive or whatever. But looking back, I'm like, wait a second, hold on. I think that girl thought I was cute. But anyway, I was working for about like 6 weeks, and then right now I decided to take a 3-month vacation because I wanted to. I guess I had the cash to do it, and I was like, fuck it, I want to go. I was like, where have I always wanted to go? And I wasn't really sure. But then I thought, where have I wanted to visit in the United States this whole all my life, or what? Not all my life, but just where has always been interesting to me. I like the cold, I like the mountains, I like the rocks and the trees. And I thought of Montana. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I actually do like Montana. Well, I don't like it. I've never been there, but I wanted to visit, and so I just went there. And yeah, man, here I am, dude. I'm gooning about. You can't say that anymore because of the internet. I'm hanging out, having a good time here in Montana. And this is literally this is a handful of weeks removed from really hard life circumstances. The job itself was hard, not harder than being homeless, I don't think, but it was hard because there was a lot of anxiety because the workload was so high, and I was running on like 4 hours of sleep for most of the 6 weeks. And then obviously before that, I was at a homeless shelter and stuff, and that's not fun. And then before that, the car broke down. I lost my car and most of my possessions. That's something I forgot to mention before. I lost most of my material possessions, reduced to my laptop, a few sweaters, one shirt, one shirt, and what do you call it? Yeah, one shirt and one pair of shoes. And yeah, it was, and pants obviously, but like, yeah, it was a real rough time. A lot was lost, but as I see it now, it was really necessary because there was no way I was going to give up that car voluntarily. And so I guess, God had to, I believe in God and stuff. God had to step in and be like, listen, bro, I'm going to take this car away from you so you can realize that you don't need this shit. Yeah, man. I have a very minimal life, very few things. I have just a backpack and a suitcase, right? Having been knocked down from the lofty heights of ambition. Because before all this stuff happened, or I guess in the olden times when I was in high school and stuff, like, two parents that were like, I guess they divorced, but independently, they're both like immigrants. Independently, they achieved their wealth. They wanted me to go to college. They tried real hard to get me to go to college. And I tried in college. Mental health issues kind of fucked me over there. I wasn't really taking care of myself or whatever, and, you know, dropped out of college a number of times. Most people don't get to drop out, or most people only get to drop out one time. I got to drop out a full 5 times. Yeah, it was fucking ridiculous, man. Goddamn. But all that nonsense, okay, is to say that I think I can speak with some authority, okay, and say that I think there is hope. You know, there is hope. There is a way to kind of make life work out for you. There is a way to, you know, make the good things that you want to happen. There was a video that Timothy Ward actually had up that is no longer on his channel. I don't know why, but he said something like, the universe, right? God, the universe, whatever force you believe, right? That like there is a wellspring of energy that you can use, or not use, but like that there's this wellspring of like shit, okay? And this divine entity is like, I want to help you achieve your shit, but you got to say your shit and you got to chase your shit before I can give you your shit. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. But like, yeah, like it's just like, it's possible to like do the things that you want. And I wanna believe that there's hope for whatever dream you have out there, you know? Like me, I have a dream that I don't think that I would have gotten out of homelessness if I didn't have this dream. But I have a dream that I want to like, you know, relocate to Japan and, you know, live my life there, you know? It's something I want to buy a house over there. I want to meet somebody there, spend my life with that lady, whoever that is. And yeah, and just like live my life over there. I just feel like that's just something I feel like is important to me and something that I want to do with my life. And so, you know, right now I'm like working towards that goal, saving up the money to, you know, eventually go over there and do all the, all the embassy related shenanigans to become a naturalized citizen over there, all that stuff. But that's a few, the actual moving over there is like, that's like 3 or 4 years down the line. But like, I guess, yeah, I have like a goal. There hasn't been like a dream or a goal that I felt this strongly about in my life. And I think, you know, I'm of the credence, okay, that, you know, my dear Lord saved me from suicide and death all those times, in part because he wants me to go over there, right? When I look at my life and how the kind of person I am and kind of what's going on in it, I kind of feel like, hey, maybe I'm the guy to do this kind of outlandish thing, to just go to a new country and just set up shop over there, you know? Because I don't have any, I'm an only child, right? Don't have any like siblings, so no, not really close to my family. You know, I'm not really close to the extended family because, you know, it was just me and my mom and my dad, who, when, you know, moved over here when I was 3. You got the fact that I'm not terribly attached to having, like, I'm kind of a loner, you know what I mean? So I'm not too attached to the idea of having like friends in person, or, you know, or even like, I mean, even the friends I do have, I haven't talked to them for several months. So it's like, you know, I'm very independent, I guess, is that's the nice way to put that. I'm very independent, not attached to like family or friends or like that. And I aspire to bravery, because that's my top virtue. That's my top virtue that I like value very highly. So I think it'd be a brave thing to learn a new language and just hop over the water and go to a new place where you know, more than half of the people are gonna look at me funny, like, ooh, where'd this black man come from? But yeah, okay, all that was to say that, like, I have an idea for my life, a vision for my life that I believe in and am willing to work to realize. Yeah, I think that there's hope. I think that there's hope for every one of us to figure out what the hell it is we want out of this freaking life, so that we can all, you know, chase that shit, and then we can all die with some pride and some dignity, to be like, hey man, listen, I tried, okay? Like, because I remember reading some article a long time ago when I was, because when you're a suicidal guy, you spend a lot of time on the internet and you spend a lot of time reading a lot of weird shit. But one of the things I remember reading like an article about, like the top regrets of like dying people, and the most common thing was just that like the most common thing was like people regret that they weren't themselves in life, that they didn't do enough to like be themselves. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, they didn't do enough to like to be honest as far as like how they approached life and how they lived their own truth. They didn't like do that. That's like the number one regret of dying people. So all that to say that like I think that there's hope for all of us to live the kind of life where we would be proud of what we endured, proud of what we lived through, and very, that we'd all die with some peace and be like, okay, listen, I did my shit in life. I have no regrets. You know what I mean? I think that's probably that's one of the best things that you could do for yourself, is to die without regrets. And well, whether or not I make it to Japan, I'm gonna fucking fight like hell for it, because I've been through the belly of the world and I came out relatively unscathed, but with a whole lot of wisdom. And what do you call it? I've listened to a whole lot of like some of the experiences of some of the people that you meet when you're when you're on the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak. And I think it's all right, man. I think everyone's gonna be okay. Well, I think we're all gonna be okay, but I'm also an optimistic freak. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. But I think there's hope. I think that there's hope. I want to believe anyway. And well, believing is the spice of life. You might as well believe in the most extravagant shit, because you're gonna die anyway. So I think I'll make it. I think we'll all make it. All right. I guess that's the end of this video. Yeah, goodbye. Oh, Jesus Christ. You can kind of see my unmade bed over there, real disheveled. Uh, anyway, I wanted to add this section to the video, just to put on for my fellow bald men, my fellow average looking guys. Okay, listen, we're gonna get ours. Okay, don't go hollow. We're gonna get ours.